PC versus PlayStation versus Xbox, a rivalry that will stand the test of time, an argument that has been going on for close to eternity. And at the end of the day, we're going to break down the pros and cons in this video. What's going on, everybody? Cryptix, and as you can tell by the title, I'm saying that consoles are a joke. Gaming consoles are a joke. And that was just to get your attention at the end of the day, right? So now that I have it, we're going to be breaking down the pros and cons, but I really want you guys to take a subjective step back. I am trying to lay out some pros and cons for you guys so you don't have to waste your money and you can come to your very own educated decision, and based off of, the things that I lay out, you can formulate your own opinion. Of course, drop a like, subscribe if you do want to show support on the channel. I greatly appreciate it. But let's just get into the video. Alright, so the first thing that I want to talk about is just the accessibility and the features that are available on console versus PC, right? On consoles, you're able to play games and stream. On PC, you're able to play games, stream, do stuff for work, do stuff for school. You got, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. You're able to stream on Spotify while you're playing a video game. You can render videos, edit videos like I do for my YouTube channel. There's a lot of different things that you can do with a PC, and I don't really want to get into all the nitty-gritty examples. I think you guys get that perspective, right? Now, the next thing that I want to be talking about is modding. So the game that you're seeing on the screen is Star Wars Battlefront 2. EA decided to not have any more support for this game so they could work on Battlefield 2042, and we all know how that went, but, this is a game that, has a bunch of mods with it. Now, on console, you cannot mod games with the exception of jailbreaking like a PlayStation 4, but you're not getting that next-gen experience, right? And we'll get into price point and stuff like that later on as well. But modding really does change the, whole dynamic of gaming. Plug in your favorite game, add mods to it, bada bing, bada boom, that's available on PC. This character that I'm playing as is Revan. This is just an OG character from the old school Star Wars gaming days, and he was ported into Battlefront 2 via modding on PC. Now, again, devs don't have any more content coming to the game, which means console players are at a loss and they cannot play anything other than what the devs laid out for them in a roadmap, meaning that there's no more content coming to PC, or I guess not PC, gaming console players, while as PC is getting additional content, additional, characters, additional features for, let's say, Star Wars Battlefront 2 via modding. Which, again, in this day and age where, we have roadmaps and all these things coming to live service games, once that live service ends, that game basically, shrivels up, at least on console. But on PC, you're able to mod the game afterwards, and that is a huge perk for PC. I mean, it really does extend a game's lifespan, and I hope, Star Wars Battlefront 2, for example, lasts much longer than what the executives over at EA intended it for. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, which is very important and probably the core argument of everything that I'm saying here, is price point. Right now, consoles are getting scalped. This means people are creating automated bots to buy the next-gen consoles in bulk and then sell them for a higher price. They are able to basically get these consoles within milliseconds because of bots, and they are able to add them all to their cart, and they get shipped to whatever warehouse or whatever they want to call it, maybe to their apartment, whatever, right? So let's say, like this guy gets like 10 PlayStation 5 consoles. That means people aren't getting the PlayStation 5 consoles for retail price, which is around $400 for digital, $500 for the, disc version, right? Same thing with Xbox Series X, $500, I believe, is the price point for that. And then, there's an Xbox Series S, which I believe it's called, and that is also, a little bit cheaper, right? But at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to get these consoles at this time for retail value, meaning that you're going to be forking over around $800 to $1,100 for a next-gen console, even if you're lucky enough to get that. meaning that the price point, the margin with, console versus PC is getting thinner. Back in the day, you were able to get a console for around $300 to $400, while PC has always really hovered around $900 to $1,200, at least a decent gaming PC, right? That is a pretty wide margin, and that means people were playing on console because, that was cheaper, and then they could just get a laptop for a couple $100 if they needed to do work or school. But now that margin is getting thinner because of scalping, and I don't foresee it ending anytime soon unless Sony and Microsoft do something about the bots, which they don't care. They're still selling their consoles. They couldn't give a damn if little Timmy got the console or some scalper got the console, right? That is a very big problem, and I don't think it's going to be solved anytime soon. Meaning that if you're going to, pay for a, scalped console, you're better off just getting parts for a PC, right? So that's a very big thing, and I think a lot of people need to actually look at that. They need to understand. And hell, this is coming from a guy that's played on Xbox for over a decade. I had Xbox Live, I'm not joking, for 11 years, okay? Maybe even 12 years. So the fact that I am saying this is coming from a console player. I originated in playing on the Xbox, and, PC, like from a investment perspective, will last longer, and you're able to do the modding thing that I mentioned before, but also it's just a great thing to have for like work, school, things like that. Whereas consoles, you're only able to play games and stream, and you're basically forking over the same amount of cash, right? So that's a very, very big thing. The next thing that we need to discuss, right, is exclusivity. Now, exclusive games are the console player's biggest argument, right? And I will say, this is the one thing I will agree with console players on. PlayStation players have games that will never be able to be played on a PC for the most part, right? Xbox players, for example, are at a loss here. So let me explain. Windows is basically owned by Microsoft. Windows is an operating system that Microsoft owns, right? Microsoft created the Xbox as a console back in the day. However, games such as Halo Infinite are able to be played on the Xbox Series X because it's an exclusive title. But also, you're able to play Halo Infinite on the PC with a Windows operating system. This means that Xbox exclusives are coming to PC because of the Windows operating system, because Microsoft owns it. And I'm able to play Halo Infinite on my PC while I still have all of my exclusive titles that I do own on my PlayStation 5. This is that's the real true dynamic of exclusive titles, and maybe down the line with all these different companies purchasing all these different, developers and AAA, gaming franchises and things like that, there's going to be a good chunk of them that Xbox owns that will be able to be played on the PC. PlayStation, again, like I said before, will have exclusive titles, which is why, in my own opinion, I own one, because I want to play those exclusive titles, and I know I won't be able to play them on PC, but some people aren't fortunate enough to have a gaming desktop or a PlayStation 5, or hell, even both. But I think if you're looking from an economical investment perspective, save up the money if you can to get a gaming PC, because at least you're able to play not only the modding, aspect of different games, but also the Xbox exclusive titles. If you are really a big fan of Spider-Man, for example, then maybe you should lean more towards PlayStation. But for the most part, if you're trying to get the biggest bang for your buck on exclusive titles, with Microsoft purchasing a bunch of different ones, PC may be the way to go because exclusive titles are coming to PC. So these were some really main arguments, but there is one thing I want to touch on, which may be a counter argument that I see in the comments. And if you stuck around this long, I appreciate you, right? But basically, hacking is a problem on PC. We're seeing that because third-party software is able to be run on PC. People are able to hack on PC. Console players are saying they don't have a problem with hacking as much because they are on console, and console versus console players you're not really able to hack other than like a third-party device for like controllers called the Cronus Max or whatever it's called nowadays, but basically it reduces the recoil on your gun. Not as invasive as, you know, wall hacking or, you know, just like things like that, right, which is available on PC. But for the most part, consoles, they are saying, at least console players are saying, they don't have to deal with hacking as much. But the problem is many games are becoming cross-play and have cross-play functionality, meaning sometimes in certain cases you're forced to play cross-play, which also means you're going to be able to have to deal with these PC hackers as well. So I think this is a problem that we're experiencing right now at this point in 2022. But as the years go on, we're seeing other games and developers innovate with anti-cheats such as kernel level, which is like, basically think of it as like the brain of a PC, for example. Kernel level anti-cheat means that, you know, you're essentially going to get banned if you hack because it can detect third-party software. So I think it's going to be an ongoing conversation, but hacking is a problem right now, but as time goes on, PC players are going to have more of a problem hacking because of kernel level anti-cheats. And down the line, console players, you know, they won't have to deal with hacking as much, but they're going to have to right now because a lot of games are cross-play at the end of the day. So I think that's basically all of the aspects that I wanted to mention in this video. You got modding, you got gaming exclusives, you got the cash price point, which is something that I think a lot of people need to be educated about. Maybe you already know it and you just don't have the funds, but I think if you look at it from a monetary perspective and an investment perspective, PC is the way to go, and it's evolving more and more each and every day with all the different graphics cards, all the different hardware that you can conduct to basically create your own gaming PC. That is going to be the console's biggest fall. That's going to be the reason that they fall. And I would say, you know, if you guys don't know about it, you know, there's like certain websites such as PC Part Picker, which definitely shows you compatibility on certain parts. Like, and then if you're able to purchase those on eBay, like you're able to get a gaming PC that does all the things that I mentioned for about the same price point as a scalped Xbox Series X and a PlayStation 5. So I hope you all did enjoy this video. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, comment down below what you think about all of this. I want to see your comments. I want to see your opinions. Maybe I missed something, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, hope you all did enjoy. I'm Cryptix, going to be editing this video on my gaming PC and signing off.